Hello and welcome to Heroes of the Horn, a Wheel of Time podcast. I am Sir Matt.
And I am Sir Ezra. Welcome to our Wheel of Time podcast, friends. We are back. We are back, my friends, with some good old-fashioned Wheel of Time news. They're releasing posters. We've got videos. There are interviews with the cast. It's like every other day we're getting something, Sir Matt.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Literally, it just feels like we've been saying this more and more and more and more stuff. And it's all awesome. And I'm here for all of it. It's just everything, man. As we've been saying, it's great. They are just hammering us with content here as we get ready for next Friday, not this coming Friday, but next Friday, or I guess next Tuesday, if you happen to live in a select city and go to a movie theater to see it. Where I was almost like upset that they announced that, because it would have never been a thing, and then it's suddenly like, oh hey, by the way, you can view it before anybody else if you live in like a certain city. And it's like the nearest one for me, and I live in a big city, the nearest one for me is 4 hours away.
I know I couldn't make it either, and I was a little bit like, dog, because I would have, if it was Columbus, I would have gone.
Yeah, if it's Portland, but it's like, oh, I have to drive all the way to Seattle to go see this.
I know. So I guess, are there any friends out there in these big cities with tickets, and do you want to hit us up and give us some,
well, it's not that I'm not worried about that ticket there. I'd have to get a plane ticket to go see it. That seems like a bit much.
Yeah, a bit much, but I don't know, it's exciting. I guess there's when is the premiere? There's like a over in England, right? There's a premiere coming up. I just saw some of our other content creator friends who are going to be out there covering it on the carpet. And I thought that's kind of cool. It's a new thing. Wheel of Time, it's this new thing. And so you have new content creators, new faces, people going out to these premieres. And it looks cool. I think the Dusty Will's going to be there. Daniel Green's going to be there. And I think I saw a few other individuals who might be there too. So it's really cool and it's really exciting. It's like we have this time where this is the world as we know it before the Wheel of Time premieres. And then we'll have the time afterwards. And it's going to be awesome.
Right.
I'm gonna love it.
The wheel turns.
Yep.
And ages.
Another turning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, it's super cool. And we should say as sort of our plan to cover this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So I have next Friday off. As I believe, do you have it off?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, sir. Friday off. Good.
Yes.
So okay. So the plan is we're going to. Well, there's going to be a lot of. Actually, that weekend's going to be pretty insane. There's going to be a lot of content. There's going to be a lot of matinees that weekend across many platforms. So we're going to do sort of 3 individual reaction / review episodes. We are going to watch them individually. So Ez and I are going to watch it, record, go watch the second one, record, go watch the third one, record, since they are coming in. They're releasing 3 episodes day one. Later that evening, I don't know what time, maybe 4 Eastern, 7.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
4 Pacific, 7 Eastern. Does that work?
That works. That's great.
Okay, perfect. We will go live.
Yeah.
And on YouTube and do a live stream, sort of hang out. What you guys think? All of that stuff. Now, Saturday, for our patrons, right? For our, what is the heroes tier patrons, you will be able to do what we've done these before, these Zoom hangouts, but we'll be talking about the show, and you will be able to be on the podcast, and we want to hear your guys' reactions and thoughts. And then that will also go to the main feed on Apple and all that stuff. And so it's a way for you to actually not only come hang out with us, but also be on an episode of the podcast, which is super cool. We've done that before with some of our other podcasts as well. And so super excited for that.
Yeah, I think we can have, especially on this program, we can have up to like 10 people for now. And then if we go over on Zoom, I think we can do even more than that. So we'll just kind of see how many we've got in there and who's interested. And it's as easy as we send you a link, you click, you pop in here, you chat. What were your thoughts? We hang out. And again, as Matt said, you are on. Right. And it's go time.
It's super.
The horn has sounded.
The horn has sounded, exactly. So it's gonna be super cool. Gonna be a lot of fun. I know we've already got a handful of people like ready to go who wanna pop in there and hang out and talk about it. So it's gonna be awesome. So just wanted to get that out there. So that's sort of the plan for the show, since we are getting 3 episodes all at once, which is
Well,
awesome.
and it's a lot. I mean, so if you want to come on and talk about things maybe that we did or didn't see, that there's going to be so much. And I love, we'll just get our quick initial thoughts, reactions out there, and then to have some people come over who, to pop on the show who've seen it multiple times. And again, 3 episodes, it's a lot. Sift through it all. What do we see? Any Angreal, Tier Angreal, special items, things that were in the background, stuff that characters are wearing, all that stuff. We want the Easter eggs. We want it all because they put a lot of time, effort into the show. We love it. There's a lot of source material from the books to pull from, so it should be riddled with all sorts of little hidden gems and Easter eggs.
Yeah, it's gonna be super cool. I'm stoked for it, to say the least. And yeah, so we'll just be going from there. So all right, Ed, so I think you have queued up some of the the trailers, and we can kind of see what's going on there.
Yeah, so we're going to start off here, friends. And if you're over on, by the way, Matt and I are trying to hit 1,000 subs over on YouTube. So if you're listening on the podcast and you haven't had a chance to come over and subscribe on YouTube, we would really appreciate it. So we're trying to get over 1,000. I think we're at 920 or 915.
We're really close.
So yeah, real close. So this is a visual. We'll describe it to you on the podcast. And the first thing up is going to be these posters. Now, let me switch back over here. I just thought these were really cool. This is some of the cast. We'll click on Perrin here first, but they have what is this, Matt? Like digitalized, or they've
so there's another set of photos that were released, but they were more, so these are more headshots, right? But there were sort of more portrait, like a full portraits of them, and people sort of were able to see that like underneath it all there was actually all of this sort of weaving, right? Going on, and people sort of amplified it and saw that there's actually all these patterns and it all connects, and it's really cool. And so then they released another set, which is what we're looking at here, which is more of just the headshots. And again, you can see some of that energy around people, and it's all sort of slightly different. It's clearly not just a photo. It does feel more like a portrait. It's definitely been obviously touched up, not just because of the digital effects, but even if you sort of look at the way it's colored and stuff like that, it almost looks like this in between of like an actual photo and something that's either like painted or even like drawn, like with, so it's really, really cool.
Can I say too, just for individuals who, if you've read the whole series, the entire thing, and you look at some of the color schemes around some of these people, I think it's pretty cool, pretty telling. Like, for example, Rand's got more red, a lot more red over here. I don't know. That might mean something, because we know that later on he gets that like Lord's coat, that jacket, that red coat, right? We've seen that in the series. So just little things that I think were interesting and like attention to detail that was cool. Let me see if there's more here. I think there was. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. You've got Logain looking good. So let's see. We got more rain. Here's more rain, and again, just more of this weaving pattern stuff. But cool stuff. This is making for a nice background, I guess, on your computer. Land. They've got Land there. Think about Nynaeve. Matt, who's your favorite?
Man, I don't know. Egwene. I think she's getting a lot of the treatment here.
Yeah. And she's going to be definitely really important. She, because Nynaeve's a bit older, and Egwene is also just getting. She's like that young. I know that what's said in the trailer is that it could be one of these 5, or that I think Moraine said the other day,
male or female.
Right. And I think seemingly you look towards the younger character, like of the 2 females that we have. Nynaeve is a wisdom who's like the teacher, and so I think people who first watch this are going to be like, well, if it's any one of the girls, it's Egwene, because she's.
Let me just say real quick.
Yeah,
there are rumors. There are rumors abound, my friend, on the subreddits and like people that cover leaks and people that cover this stuff, that and again, we haven't seen it yet, that Egwene may end up being the dragon in the show.
What?
Based upon, yeah, it is. Go to Wheel of Time subreddit and see what people are saying. There is a lot of evidence to support that they may be going in a insanely different direction than we think.
Matt,
I'm
now
not joking, man. I'm telling you that
I
that is
believe
it
you.
is it is
I
it
believe
is
you.
being highly discussed. There's leaks. There's all sorts of things that point to,
Yeah.
and we saw another thing today, which they're making this a very diverse cast. They're making this a very diverse thing. There's an interview today with Rosamund Pike where she's talking about the nudity in the show. And she said that there's actually like not that much female nudity, but there's quite a lot of male nudity. So they've already
Wow.
said that. So we know, so that kind of tells me also, remember, we went into thinking, where are they going with this? Because Wheel of Time, you can almost do PG-13, or do you go more rated R, like something like Game of Thrones? Because the way it is in the books, I would say it's really more PG-13. There's not really a lot of there's not really swearing in Wheel of Time.
Blood and ashes. Yeah,
Right, but
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
it's not like Game of Thrones or The Witcher where it's like,
Right.
like F word
F this and F
every other,
that, yeah.
right, exactly, or like, like full on. I mean, Game of
Right. They're
Thrones
making
has,
up their
like, right,
own
Game of
swear
Thrones
words
has
in
like
this.
blood, gore, and like, full on like sex scenes.
Okay. Yeah. Let me
But so we
yeah.
now know there will be nudity in the show. That has been confirmed.
Confirmed. Okay. And honestly, the more I've read, I think I'm in, I don't know, I'm in book 7 or 8 right now. And man, the deeper you get into the series, it's just riddled with nudity, like just
Right.
casual nudity all over the place. So I forgot about that, actually, that there's a lot more than I thought. Let me say something. Might be controversial. Real quick. Matt, this is an adaptation. We already have Robert Jordan's story. We already have it. It's already there. If you ever want to go read that story or learn about it, it is there for you to go read. I think about the portal stones, and sometimes the characters drift into other ways in which the story could go. When they're traveling through the portal stones, they live a lot of different lives and they see a lot of different things. The characters come out and say to Rand, "I would never do this to you," or they battle and they deal with a lot. The wheel is weaving. And maybe in this, I don't know, I think of it as a world of maybe, or another alternate reality. I say go for it. And let me also tell you what I think they're doing, Matt. I'm going to stick on this. If Egwene is the dragon situation here, okay, that I think Moraine said it was the arrogance of men, right? That was who bore into the Dark One's
Well,
prison.
I'll bring that up. I have something to talk about that with that too. So continue on.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that's what she said, is that it was the arrogance of men. And that was what was, in the book, it was both men and women. It was the arrogance of the age and of the Aes Sedai during that time, not necessarily one half or the other half. So what do you got? What do you have on that, I guess?
Well, in an interview with Rosamund Pike today, in which she discussed the nudity, she said, and again, we don't know, she said, she's glad that we're going to be getting more male nudity in this show to sort of, since Hollywood is obviously incredibly female nudity heavy. She said she's sort of glad that it's the whatever. It feels like, so anyway, so that's one of the things she says. So she says, she's like, I found out, it is an interview with some UK magazine here. When I found out that Robert Jordan had been a helicopter gunman in Vietnam, I thought, oh, that's where this big fantasy world originates. That he had been interested in men who had power, abused it, and broke the world. And so that's sort of like one of her quotes. So she is saying more so that she feels like, at least like in her interpretation of it, is that it's men who had power and broke the world. The sort of official post here in the Wheel of Time Reddit goes on to say that in the books, it's actually clear that the blame was shared between a woman and a man, working together to gain more power, and then it opened the door or whatever. And then she also goes on to talk about how there's more male nudity in it, and she's sort of glad since there's already so much more female. So I will say, to the 5% or 10% of people that are going to be incredibly butthurt by all this, I do think it is something we're going to see, unfortunately, people complaining about some of the diversity that's in this. I can tell right now there's already going to be a little bit, there will be a minor toxic section of Wheel of Time fans, right?
Well, which is an area from which we can, we'll
They're
strive
dark
to.
friends. Get them
They're
out.
dark. Hey,
But I'm just,
what they are.
I feel like just what I can see right now going on with like the comments and stuff like that. I mean, get there. It will be there. I can tell you
Well, Matt,
in 3 weeks it will be like, I'll be like, I warned you. I can see that this is coming.
Sure. But I'll say this to all those individuals. And I'll say this to, I'll just say this in general. We say this on Hyperspace. There are more of us, Matt.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know. I'm just saying. I know. Yeah. No, there will always be. But
just to encourage folks to speak up. If you like this, don't be afraid to say that you're okay with Egwene maybe being the dragon. You know what I mean? Like being that chosen one.
I don't know.
Now, hear me out. Hold on. Let me tell you.
It's Randall Thor, my friend. I mean, that's who the story is.
Matt, let me tell you something, okay? I think what they're doing is that one of the elements of Wheel of Time and the Eye of the World is we don't know who the dragon is. So I really think they're just trying to stoke that as much as possible.
Right.
And I kind of think that's just what they're going to go with. They might even go as far as to say, like, there's a different idea between like the ice, like, because they're shunning men and the corruption that they bring, right? With the one power and that they bore into stuff. I think it's going to push Rand so far out and away and amplify Egwene to be the one hero, the savior, etc. And the unexpected is, in the end, it will still be Rand. But I think they'd go as far as the White Tower proclaim her to be the dragon reborn. And
right.
he goes on his own arc where they bring him back in later and say, don't worry, we know who he is. And there's nothing wrong with that because, and not to get too far into spoilers, if anyone knows what Egwene does at the end of this series, there's a really good reason. Sorry, spoilers, kind of quasi spoilers here. Egwene's a big deal.
You can just say Egwene's important. I mean, I think obviously she's a
very big deal. Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I think it's pretty apparent that they will all be important to some degree.
Right, but I think the conversation here is like you just said. Well, it's the dragon. Well, there's a reason why in reading the whole series that they say that there even a rumor would come out that it's Egwene, because there's just a lot of reasons in the book that you could look to and say she's more important. She's more important than most characters, and that's clear. That's what I was saying earlier too, when like Nynaeve is the wisdom, already kind of that mentor. Like, in Star Wars, Obi-Wan is the mentor to Luke. Who's more important? Luke. Luke is the hero, is the protagonist who's going to, like, that younger character typically evolves into taking on these greater things. Gandalf to Frodo. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other shows or whatever. But yeah, to me, Egwene on the women's side of things stands out because, like, Nynaeve's telling her to listen to the wind, and it's this. Well, we're gonna get to that clip here in a second. We got a clip coming up we want to share with you guys. But listening to the wind, and it's like Moraine who comes in and corrects and all this stuff. But I don't know. I just think they're gonna do a big push to say, like, why do that, Matt? Why even say that it could be a male or female if they're not going to take it further than just episode 1?
Well, I definitely think we're going to go further than episode 1 to sort of.
Do you think she'll be proclaimed the Dragon Reborn?
No, I do not think she'll be proclaimed the Dragon Reborn. But I think already from what we know, and again, this is kind of a little bit of predictions for how the season's going to go, since I don't know if we'll record again before the show, but I think it's pretty apparent, given the fact that we know that Elaine isn't cast until season 2. We know Min is cast. But I think the Rand Egwene romance is going to be pushed through much further than it is in the books.
Yeah.
I mean, in the books, it's like, it's like 3 chapters. Well, all right. Okay. Like, not, I mean, it's, it ends up sort of not being anything. And then Actually, it might be at the beginning of book 2, but regardless, I think it'll be pushed through like to maybe the end of season 2.
Okay. Yeah, I just think it's from the things I've seen and just some of the stuff like that's mentioned in these trailers. The one we're going to show you today, it just seems so different, man. It's such a different adaptation that it won't surprise me if they push stuff like if they mislead us for much, not mislead us, but if they take us down one path, like if that love interest is a thing, speculation here, pure just speculation. If Rand and Egwene are going to be in love and they're going to push that story forward for 2 seasons, it could be that she is like the tower. She's the chosen one. It comes out. She's the chosen one. He's maybe preparing to be her warder or something. This could be totally different. And then it's found out that he can channel and he's shunned. Like, well, no, men need to be gentle. She's put in a tough spot. What do we do? Do we gentle her boyfriend? Do we not gentle her boyfriend? I'm the chosen one. I don't want to do that. But wait, now Moraine's saying,
now that we're hearing more and more about it. I mean, what are your thoughts on because on the show, especially like because I see a question here. Show's maturity level. Says this is on the Reddit. It's like, I'd love to watch the show with my preteen daughters as a way of introducing them to the series. Given that the adult themes aren't really explicitly stated in the books, has there been any indication of how far the show is going to push those topics? Are we talking Lord of the Rings trilogy or full on Game of Thrones?
I think it's in between, and it's not full on. I think there'll be nudity, but it's soft nudity, right? It's not like sex or implying sex or like, I mean, there was some pretty explicit stuff going on in Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? We saw sexual acts and stuff like that. I don't think we'll see sexual acts. I think you might see people undressing, or you might see people undressing to walk through a ter'angreal, or to step into a pool of water. I don't think you're going to see a lot of sex, just to be clear.
Right.
So that's where I say it falls in between. Definitely, not Lord of the Rings level. We're talking, people will be nude in this. So there's that. Also, some of this stuff that is implied with, some of the Forsaken and what they do to men and women, and the way they use people, and the way that the Red Aja views men and dominating them and stuff like that, Matt. I'm telling you, man, some of that stuff might show up, and that would take it to another, level of maturity. I don't know how far they're going to go with that, because it's only hinted or suggested kind of in the book. I mean, maybe sometimes it was more than suggested. I don't remember exactly. Again, it's a 14 novel series. I'm still, there's some parts where you could take it as far as you wanted to and depict things. I don't know they need to do all that. And if they're already saying there's more male nudity, though, it's trying to think of where and where that would be in the series. I think it's with the Red Aja and like Logain, and once they capture him and what.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say, I believe I'm telling you, if she here's what she says. I have this whole thing pulled up.
Right.
And I guess the only reason I'm kind of harking on this point is because we've been talking about how we want this to be as ultra successful as possible.
Yes.
And once you cross that line of like PG-13 to R, its viewership gets like cut in half. I remember reading I was reading about the first Suicide Squad movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about how they wanted it to be rated R, but it ultimately ended up being rated PG-13. And the decision was made at Warner Brothers is like the difference in viewership. It's like 60. It's like you lose about 40% of your potential audience by going from PG-13 to R. Now, of course, Game of Thrones blew it out of the water and was massive and was huge. But I was just like, you think about how many more people could have viewed it if it had been, I don't know. But then it's sort of like, well, then it sort of creates it what it is. But I don't know. Game of Thrones, first 2 seasons, I don't know, man. It's basically like softcore porn. I mean, not gonna lie. I mean, we've covered it. But then after that, it's like it's still there, but it's not nearly as prevalent as it is in seasons 1 and 2. I mean, you can tell the viewers start going up and they're like, yeah, cut that out. I mean, there still is, but it's like, cut it out. Like,
yeah. Because you've brought people, you've hooked people in a little bit, and then maybe you start to say, okay, they can cover their eyes for the first season or 2, and then and then we'll start to kind of
She
ramp
says
it
you
up.
see many. She says this is her quote. You see many more naked men than you see naked women. Many more.
Well, okay, we're gonna have in season 1.
Okay, okay, yeah.
We've only filmed, one season. I guess they're on season 2 right now. So you're talking in how many episodes?
I don't know, but she says you see many more. She says we've got all the boys frantically dieting and working out hard for their naked scenes, and all of the women going out for lovely dinners.
You're joking me.
This is these are quotes from Rosamund Pike.
Wow.
I'm not.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. That's why I'm like,
Wow.
This is what she said, and then she goes on to say,
Wow.
the thing about Robert Jordan, saying like when I found out, he's like men had power, abused and broke the world, and she's talking about that dichotomy between men and women, female,
Yeah.
which is why I said be careful, because I'm telling you, these comments are it can get toxic fast, and it's unfortunate because they're already I remember once we saw the first trailer and it was like, oh, what's the show about, like women who are the power of feminists and all this stuff, and it's gonna be toxic and it's gonna be annoying, and I can tell right now I'm gonna have to end up blocking a lot of people on Twitter when this comes out.
Yeah.
It's gonna be unfortunate.
Well, let me say something. I think maybe what could happen here too is that if you take the books and the Age of Legends, and if you shift it to men were to blame, men destroyed the world, they used the one power, Lews Therin killed his family, he's a kinslayer, and so on. And that was the setup, and that's what is known in the current age of Wheel of Time. Then it would make sense that, like, when you look at the women's circle and the village council, that the village council might argue and bicker with them, but they might defer to, right, and actually give way to the women's circle more than we see in the books because of this great shame for destroying the world, right? It could be that there's this lingering shame from 2,000 years or 3,000 years ago that where now women are saying men can't be trusted with that power. It could be a total different type of world we're looking at here. So
yeah, it could be
topsy-turvy.
I know. Yeah. I'm trying to see if there's anything else on it, but that's all I've seen. So apparently we're gonna see a lot of naked dudes in season 1. Just letting everybody know.
I'm all for it. Hey, whatever, let's again, if it fits and it's not like if it's a part of the show and there's a reason for it, then sure.
No, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not against there being either way. I guess for me, I would actually almost rather there not be any, because then I feel like then you increase your target audience and then more people see it and you have the chance of the show being that much more successful and that much bigger.
Matt, let me give you an example. So in the book, there's a whole group of people called the Sea Folk, and you know this, right? They're all topless.
Exactly.
They're all the women are topless.
Right. Is that something that you have to do that way?
Right. If you're gonna change things like who is the dragon, could you change that too? Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. Right. So that's I totally get your point, which is like, do we need this? I mean, it's a flip of the coin here, man, because Game of Thrones knocks it out of the park. If they're trying to go for that level of success, maybe they're trying to mimic it.
Right.
It could backfire.
But I would say the difference though between like Game of Thrones, like let's look at all 3. Like we'll look at 4 just because I think we have 4 sort of adaptations, I think, just in sort of recent memory. Okay. So like Game of Thrones is extremely dark, it's extremely brutal, but the books are extremely dark and extremely brutal. They actually, they stay within the tone of the show, of the books. And they don't really go away. They just, okay, here's the tone of the books, and we kind of stay there. If anything, they may push it just a little further, but not a lot further. Like you couldn't, I don't think you could do a PG-13 Game of Thrones. I feel it would really water it down. Which is fine. Then you look at The Witcher, like The Witcher is like sort of rated R. And again, the books, as I've been reading them, are also sort of rated R. I mean, I feel like you could probably PG-13 that. Lord of the Rings, they stay right, pretty even kills, straightforward, whatever. Wheel of Time, I feel like is closer to Lord of the Rings than it is Game of Thrones.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Yes.
when we hear about people getting stabbed and stuff like that, I mean, in Game of Thrones, it's like they stabbed him and you could see, you know, his like guts spilling out
Mhm.
and you know, all this stuff. And they're describing like full on sort of, you know,
Yeah.
hooking up scenes. I'm like, I mean, you're hearing like the details of it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Whereas in this, like when somebody gets stabbed or whatever, it's just like that's it. They kind of die. We
Right.
don't. I would say it's closer to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, it is. The crazy thing is too, what's different, and I guess if you were trying to make this show, Lord of the Rings, when you went to go make those movies, those books had been out for so long,
Exactly.
and they had so
Right.
much of a fan base and again, it
Well, they
definitely
would have
was.
been laughed if Tolkien had written it like Game of Thrones back when he written it. Would have been he would
Oh
have
my
like
god, it
burned.
wouldn't
He would
have
have burned at the stake. I mean,
absolutely, would have
like
absolutely would have. But so now I think like, okay, Robert Jordan's books are out, Wheel of Time is out there. It has a fan base that will come to it, that will rally behind it. I think one way or the other. It's just it's all these people that are coming in. Like, what type of individuals are you? What's your target audience? You know, I
yeah,
mean, because it even comes down to like, what are the lessons and the themes that they're going to try to push forward in the show, and are they things that kids of which age could you know learn something from or be entertained even and stuff. Like, how friendly is Loyal? Is he kind of scary? Well, okay, then they didn't go for friendly Loyal, and maybe he's just a scary guy, and now this is just a scary show. I don't know, but gosh, we're only like a week away from finding
I
out.
know.
So it's like,
Well, it's like maybe we're only a week away, and then it's like we start getting details like this, and it's like, wait, what is this show even gonna like? What is going on?
right. And what I hope though, you know, if it's not appropriate for kids, I hope so many
That's
adults
fine.
are
It
into
is.
it.
It
Yeah,
is fine.
I
Right.
still hope it's a home run for everything. It's just like you said, if Matt's drawing up the show based on the books, Matt's probably saying, and I think I'm probably saying, lean towards leaving it out, maybe. But I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not.
because
I don't.
it's there's not the sections that are like, you know, they're on the ship where like the women are topless.
Yeah.
That's an easy thing to fix. It's not like it's a, you know,
Yeah.
huge part of the story that is entirely. I mean, my God, they already have to cut so much out. We may not even spend time on that ship.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And
Exactly.
then, so I will say, though, that means we might be authentic when they go into the Aes Sedai dream world. Remember, like the whole deal is like they're not wearing
Mhm.
clothes,
Yeah.
which we've been talked about before. We've said,
Yeah.
I don't think you have to be there to sort of do that, but
Right.
that might be there. So
Uh,
it kind of, I guess, speaks a little bit to just, you know, because so much of this is what do we cut, what don't we cut, how true do we stay to the adaptation compared to how far do we come away. Maybe they are, maybe I don't, it's so weird because it's like you have Logain in season 1, right? And it's like that doesn't happen, but then we're gonna like stay
right.
true to like all of these other details, and so it's like
One
I
more.
guess our how we view this is like it's almost, I think it's impossible for us to grasp because they're really doing something that's never been done. Nobody has ever tried to adapt something this large in this type of a scale before. Because
Yeah.
even like the Harry Potter books, I would say is probably, an honest to God, probably the second biggest task. Because you did 8 movies. Like, hey, we're gonna do 8 movies off a series of books. I don't know of any other thing. I mean, the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, that's only 6, and really they stretched the Hobbit into 3 movies. But I can't think of anything else that's like 8, you know, things. I mean, now you're talking about 14 into a TV series. It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Okay. Let me. While we're on that, I didn't think
Well,
we'd
Game
do.
of Thrones is big too. I mean, that's big. That's 5 books, but still, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just bring up something that I don't know. This is where I was going earlier with the nudity thing. Someone did a breakdown. This is a 2012 post about the rise and fall of nudity in the Wheel of Time. Just real quick, last thing here. Robert Jordan progressively gets more and more like he talks about individuals who are naked and who are switched and who are disciplined and all this kind of stuff, right? And they did a count just as you start with the Eye of the World. It starts at like 2 people are naked or mentioned as being naked, 3 people like getting a switch, which is just like whatever for like a switching when you were younger by Nynaeve or who knows what. And then it just from there goes to like 9 people naked, 8, 17, 33 is the highest amount there. And then the switchings just continue to kind of go up, and someone's going on that it could just be like, I don't know, it could just be for kids. Anyway, the whole point is that it's there, but it's just whether they were going to choose to amplify it or diminish it, or not, or whatever I'm trying to say. And it seems like they're going that route. They're gonna push it a bit further. So there's some pretty, okay. I don't want to get into all of it yet. I just want to see what they do first, because it's they could go extreme with this if they wanted to.
They might go extreme.
They might go extreme.
They might go real extreme. They might go real extreme.
Especially if there's,
and that's the other thing is if we are going to see more of that, are we going to see more blood and gore?
Yeah.
Than is in the books.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are they going that mature of a
right?
Because are you going that mature of a sort of adaptation? Which is, I guess, the real question.
Well, they might. So think about HBO Max. So what's that show you watch? The Titans or whatever?
Titans. Oh yeah,
Titans.
That's super dark, man.
What's the other one that's the superheroes that are like just killing everyone? And it's a group
Doom Patrol.
There's Doom Patrol, but there's the one with like he's like the American guy.
That's The Boys.
The Boys,
which is an Amazon show.
Show, and so it's successful for them. Then you've got Titans for HBO, and then you've got Game of Thrones. I just kind of wonder if they're not saying, hey, let's look at those, and they're saying, let's go to that level. And if they do, it's the sexual stuff that they might amplify.
Be pushing. Yeah.
So, anyway.
But I think there's other adaptations that are, I would say, PG-13 that are extremely successful. I mean, Stranger Things is not I don't know. Are they swearing a lot in Stranger? Yeah, I guess
a lot of F, the F word, and then there's but blood and gore, but those are child actors too.
Crazy. Well, not anymore. Now they're like all that.
Right? Yeah, not anymore. But yeah. But I mean, I don't know, man. That's interesting. I did
What's
not
our
read
world
that.
coming to?
I don't even know.
I mean,
can we get back to Middle Earth? I'm kidding. No, this is a good story, and there's really cool stuff in it, and it'll be interesting to see how people take it. So let me.
I will say real quick here, just one last thing here. So another problem is that all of these articles that are talking about this, right? Rosamund Pike's forthcoming Amazon series, The Wheel of Time, is a sprawling fantasy world in which only women can wield a powerful form of magic. And so, it's like that's not accurate. Like that is not accurate, and it's gonna be divisive, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate, but it's gonna be a thing.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. Like I said, I think it's just it's a hook, and the people are saying, "Oh, that's interesting. That's new. I wonder what this is." Oh, wait, there are men. It's corrupt. The power is corrupted. So on. Yeah, because you really got to sell. Why is it bad to be a male channeler? Why is it bad to be, the self-proclaimed dragon, Logain, right? And then if it's not him, is it Egwene? Is it Rand? And my biggest question too, with all of that is, for Rafe, is like when they talk about the legend of other dragons. Like false dragons, will they say that there were women false dragons, Matt? They might. Mm-hmm. They might say that there were women who falsely proclaimed themselves to be the dragon. Logain is, air quote, maybe at the start of this, he's the Lord Dragon. I think I'd follow him. All right. I think I'd get behind him and I'd say he's in there fulfilling prophecies and he's channeling. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see here if there's anything else. Wow, there is this is a subreddit I never found. Wheel of Time leaks. Okay, see what I find.
Whoa.
It's like, whoa.
I mean, the show's coming. That thing will be littered next week
Monday or Tuesday, it's going to be all out.
Right. Yeah. Try to be out. I'm staying away from it, though. And we will stay away from it here on the podcast for the time being. We'll let you know when we're talking major spoilers all the time. Is now the time? You think we can?
Yes. Let's shift gears here.
You're gonna hear it start, and I'll stop it right away here. But this is just. There we go. Yep. So this is some of the new footage. I think it's 37 seconds or something. So I'm just going to play it so you can hear the audio, and then we'll talk about what is happening here in just a second. So this is 30 seconds.
Let us welcome you to the Women's Circle.
Be strong, Egwene.
Nynaeve, she thinks I'll be able to listen to the wind if I work with her.
A woman must be strong, with the ability to give life and take it.
You don't listen to the wind, Egwene. It's the wind that listens to you.
You ready?
Nynaeve.
Okay, so just to describe this to you guys who are listening there on the podcast, so it is Egwene talking to Nynaeve about this ability that she might have to talk to the wind, and that she could train her in that. It seems as if Nynaeve already has that ability, and they call it listening to the wind, but Moiraine says that it is the wind which will listen to them, and gives them this, that they have almost control over it if they choose to use it. A couple action sequences. You can see one here where Nynaeve is kind of jumping up out of this pool of water. It looks like the same spot where they did the women's circle thing, like the ceremony.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think she's there. And then you've got this shot of Egwene and her. They're facing a Trolloc who is defiling the pool that they're in.
You get him out.
Get him out of there. What is he doing in the women's circle? So that is going on. Nynaeve it looks like she kills this Trolloc with a
Right.
sword or something.
I think she does, and I think that's where she does the hair flip too. Remember, we saw that clip of her doing like the hair flip or whatever.
Yeah. Look at this Trolloc, man. I think there might be dark, scary moments in this. Maybe not a lot of blood and gore at first, but definitely like a scary. He pops up out of the water. They're being chased, or things are dark. You have 24 seconds. You've got Egwene looking her eyes. Looks like she's been crying. She looks really upset about something. I think they lose Nynaeve. So when I saw this shot and I see her looking up, I think she really thinks Nynaeve's gone. I think you're going to have an element where they think not just that we're split up, but that maybe she was killed or she sacrificed. You kind of how you have that Tom Maryland moment where like the boys think he really died fighting a Fade, and they're like, he's a goner, right? So if you wanted to do something slightly different and build some suspense, you might be like, oh gosh, Nynaeve is gone. And maybe we even the audience don't quite know if they're going to bring her back. And then there's this moment at the end where it looks like, well, first of all, the whole clip is Nynaeve and Egwene together fighting like sisters, super close, building this relationship between them. Awesome shot here with Nynaeve and a dagger fighting. But what happens at the end is, I think, so interesting. I think she gets split up and goes on her own arc, and Egwene truly thinks she's gone. Then she shows up here at the White Tower she's standing next to our guy,
right?
Lan, standing next to Lan.
What were those two doing?
Did he go get her? I thought maybe he went and like disobeys Moiraine and goes after her or something, like, or maybe Lan and Moiraine get split up, because we see tons of clips of Lan and Nynaeve together without Moiraine. So predictions there, I think that happens. So they come back together. I think because of the water bond, Moiraine knows about Lan and where he's at, that he's alive and etc. But she doesn't say anything to Egwene. Egwene just needs to move on with her training, and they're at the White Tower, and she seems shocked to see Nynaeve, almost shocked as if she's alive. She rushes towards her, hugs her, embraces her. They did not arrive to the tower at the same time. So I think they're doing this whole thing like we've talked about before. This is Caemlyn. The great meetup here is in Caemlyn.
Is it? But it is in Tarvalin. The meetup that we see in Caemlyn in the book will be at Tarvalin. Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So this was just today, though. This came out on November 9th, early today, and it was just a new clip about these two individuals and their closeness, their relationship, and how she was, Nynaeve has been mentoring Egwene, but Moiraine takes over. And so I think that there might be a strife that develops between Nynaeve and Moiraine. We saw in the original trailer, Moiraine, she says, "Name yourself, stranger," right? And first Lan names himself. "May I help you, my lady?" When Moiraine walks in, she walks right past. She doesn't say anything. I was like, "Excuse me, Moiraine. You're talking to the village wisdom. Okay.
No, that's not how it works.
Hey,
Okay.
she's the wisdom, Matt.
Well,
Okay.
this is Moraine Sedai. Okay.
Well-
Lan walks in and says, "Hey, everybody, maybe you need to know what's going on here. This is Moraine Sedai."
You know,
Okay.
do you know? Hey, do you know what Aes Sedai means in the old tongue? Servant.
Wow.
Okay. So why don't but she comes in there walking like she's royalty. All right. What the heck?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm on
the
team.
arrogance of
I don't
men,
know
my
that I'm on
friend.
Team Nynaeve. I'm on Team Moraine. Okay.
Oh my.
But I don't know. I think I'm starting to become one of those Nynaeve people that get upset with Nynaeve and the Nynaeve chapters. Okay.
Yeah. That gosh, I know you're going through a rough batch right now. Actually,
I know.
Where you're reading right now, it's a lot of Nynaeve that's not necessarily the best. The best
Right.
Nynaeve is to come.
You know, it can be cut from the show. Circus chapters. I think we'll be okay.
Wow.
All right, I'll go ahead and say it.
Wow, it's cool it in season one.
Circus chapters and captured chapters. I think we can trim those down a bit.
Yep. Gosh, they got to get those exotic animals in the menagerie in there, and Vale and Luca. God, those were a bit much. Anyway, so what'd you think of this overall? Just this clip. I mean,
It's
cool.
cool. Yeah, it's cool. They've been doing some of these. They did one like the other day that was a Lan.
Yeah, I had that
like
one.
a Lan Moraine one too, which is cool. And again, we're getting like maybe a few frames more of footage, but at this point, that's all we're really gonna get. We're not gonna get another big trailer. So it's really, I'm just ready, and it's like it's go time.
Right. Right. I like that they bring up that it's the wind, right? They're talking about the wind. And so it's sort of, you go from this village understanding of the power to a greater understanding with Moraine, which is cool. Because like Nynaeve, as far as what they know, these kids have never gone to Baerlon. They've never gone to Camelin. They haven't gone to these greater cities. They have a limited understanding of stuff. They need to listen to the wind. And why isn't the village wisdom doing more about the crops, Matt? Why aren't the crops growing? The village council's all upset. You know how it goes in the beginning of the book. So it'll be cool to see Moraine come in and really take everybody to a new level. And it looks like they're doing a good job of that. Let me pull up the other one real quick here, and we'll just play it so you guys on the podcast can hear that. Let me go back.
Both have work to do today.
Learn Mandrag. This is Moraine.
Whatever happens now, there's no turning back.
No bond is closer than an Aes Sedai and her warden.
Okay. Some cool music, Matt. I mean, that was kind of cool.
I'm digging the music. What do you think? I mean, I'm ready for the opener. What's the opener going to be?
I don't know. It's got to be cool though, right? It's got to be something really catchy.
Do you think maybe they'll give us the opening music before?
I don't know. That would be cool. It would be definitely cool.
I mean, it's like a make or break thing.
It is. It is a huge deal.
I mean,
it's a huge deal.
It's almost more of a make or break thing than anything else. Is that opening music? I mean, Game of Thrones, knocked it out of the park.
Yes, it did.
Okay. I mean, sometimes when you think of some of the best shows, you're like, it's that opening music.
Yep.
Right. That The Simpsons, Game of Thrones, Star Trek. Star Trek's got that. Smallville, we love Smallville's opening.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Sick, man.
The show needs to get opener.
If you got to have that good opener.
Right. I think it will. It has to. Really, it has to. And we're just hoping that it comes close to Game of Thrones. But it was cool to hear kind of like that, that building.
Is cool. Right. All the music we've heard so far, I really like. And this trailer is really cool too. Getting to hear a little bit more of Lan. But I think maybe that one thing about well, maybe not. I guess that was Lan speaking the whole time. Just sounded a little different. But because sometimes it's like he says, I'm like, to hear a full sentence, because we haven't really heard him speak like sort of full sentences. So
yeah. I think
when we get in the Tom Maryland trailer,
I don't know. I don't
think we're gonna.
Yeah, I think they're just staying right here with our Emmons fielders and then Lan and Moraine. But man, there's so many. They've shown us so much. Like they're gonna show so many Aes Sedai, so many women that can channel the power. Logain and his followers. Tom, Loyal. This cast is huge. There's tons of people in this, and it's just wild to kind of think that all this is coming to life, and it looks cool. So those of you who didn't get a chance to see that last bit, so if you're on the podcast, the lightning strike. There was some lightning strike. There was a lot of wind weaving of air. That was awesome, and it just looked cool. It seemed like Lan could sense stuff, telepathically or whatever, feel something like Moraine in stress, or just sense that she needed his help, and he was rolling. That was kind of cool. Like you think of in a video game, right? You've got that press your circle button, and you can roll over and protect Moraine, and you're defending her against a one Trolloc that got through. That's his job, man. She can take out like hundreds of them, Matt, but the one that gets through, or the fade that shows up,
that's what you need the warder for.
He's got to stand his ground, man. He's got to take on that fade. He's going to, by the way. That is going to be sick. Seeing him face down.
It's going to be, yeah, I'm definitely ready for more Lan. And it seems like in episode 1 or something, we're getting some content, some new spring content where like we got to go to Two Rivers, Emmons Field, and find these people. I believe that's where he's at. We saw that in that one trailer.
Right. Yeah, I think I think we'll learn a lot about the power just from Moraine and Leanne, and I think it's Alana who are, I think, trying to shield Logain, and he breaks out of that shield. That I think happens first. I don't know. We're just speculating here, but it kind of looked like it. So, friends, Matt, I'm pumped.
That's great. I'm ready. I'm ready, man. Next Friday, the 19th, we're getting 3 episodes. I'm ready at this point. I don't know. They didn't say. I guess I didn't know on the tickets thing. I don't know that you get to go see all 3 episodes.
Just the first one, right?
I think it is. I think it might just be episode 1. If you do live in one of the 5 cities they're showing. I think it's like Chicago, New York, Seattle, Atlanta.
Because that'd be a lot to get out of the bag. If you got to see all 3, and then God, you'd be able to. That's a lot, which was what made me kind of nervous. Like, dang, you're really
killing us over here, Amazon.
Just put it in Columbus. I would have gone to it.
Exactly. Put it in Portland.
Yeah.
I'd go see it.
Yeah. It's cool. And again, I hope people go out and enjoy it, and maybe they tell more people about it. You get more numbers going to Amazon, watching it, and people tell your friends about it at work, and grab a buddy, watch it. I've got friends at work that are all ready to kind of, talk about it. And Matt and I are here. We want our Heroes patrons to pop in on Saturday.
Yes.
Tune into the live show. Your comments will be read on the show, and then we'll have you guys on that following Saturday, and then we'll try to make that kind of a reoccurring thing, because we want your thoughts. I mean, it's just, we found, first of all, we've got big upgrade to the show here, and we're able to do that much more efficiently and easily. And like I said, click the link and we're on. And this is it. We're just covering season 1 of the Wheel of Time. We'll get back into Lord of Chaos, and we'll pick back up with all of our reread stuff later on. We mentioned that a few weeks back. And it's exciting. It's just real exciting. Also, we have some extra extended edition stuff. I think what we might do as well when the show is going on is finding some of those Easter eggs and saying, if there's spoilers, I mean, we'll have to kind of see, because we've read 5, I think we're into 5 books now. 6 books. So we will be beginning book 6 after season 1. Yeah. So if you're into Lords of Chaos. Right. Yeah. Which is so much better. You're going to love it. But we can talk about stuff we see in the show and really start to kind of string together some connections to season 2 or even beyond, or just sort of extra predictions in our Apple Podcast and Patreon, where we drop extra kind of episodes, the extended edition. So yes, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that is it, friends, for today. You got anything else, Matt? We're good, right? Nope. That's it, man. Stay tuned. We might come back. We might hit you up next week before the thing. Otherwise, stay tuned for next Friday when there's going to be like 5 episodes in those 2 days. So get ready. Let me say this too. After this episode, we got a quick extended edition that Sir Ezra wants to talk about with Sir Matt, and it might be explicit. So I won't be using explicit language, but if you could tell from the topic of this episode, you might know what we're going to cover. So be sure to check in on that. And friends, send us a pigeon or an email over at thehornofvalir@gmail.com. We're checking that. And you can also hit us up on Patreon there, message us there. Follow us on Twitter, the Horn of Valir. I think that's our handle there on Twitter. We also have a Facebook group, which is pretty cool. We've got some some of our patrons are in there, and they do a good job of keeping it active and sending, just having discussion about the show. I would like to read some of the comments from Facebook later about the show. On our YouTube video, we often click on the comments. We'll go through and we can kind of turn those into content as well, especially if somebody found something that's really, really cool or interesting. So, all right, friends, with that, please like, please subscribe, and remember that the grave is no bar to our call.